Thank you very much. I would like to start by thanking Ambassador Mohib, distinguished ambassador of Afghanistan, and his lovely wife, Mrs. Mohib. Thank you for opening the doors of the embassy to a celebration of Rumi. I also would like to thank all of you for coming here, particularly the distinguished ambassador of India and his wife. India is a great friend of both the United States and Afghanistan. Thank you for attending this event. I want to thank all of you also, of course, and particularly my fellow members of the Arch Board. We are led by my better half, Cheryl, who is the creative energy and power behind Arch, which seeks to preserve historic heritage, not only buildings, but literature as well. They have already done a few things with regard to Afghanistan, which I'm particularly proud of. They have painted on T-walls or blast walls around Kabul, a city that's been attacked repeatedly by terrorists, the sayings, the poems of Maulana Rumi, as a very appropriate action on the part of Arch. I'm also very proud of the book that Arch has published, a book of Afghan children's stories called Musical. I hope those of you who have children, even if you're not Afghan, would acquire those books and read the stories to your children. I'm delighted to be here to celebrate Rumi because often, as the ambassador said, Ambassador Mohib, not surprisingly, when we think about Afghanistan these days, we talk about the war and the suffering of the Afghan people, an imposed war that has been going on for decades. Most Afghans living today have no memory of a time that the country has had permanent or enduring peace. The war in Afghanistan has touched a lot of other people, including the United States and also India. We are all affected by it no matter where we are. And actions by adversaries and friends have shaped this conflict. But there is another Afghanistan also. Another Afghanistan that is in struggle with the Afghanistan that is being imposed on it, a type of Afghanistan that's the opposite of what Rumi stood for, what is in the heart and soul, and as the ambassador said, the DNA of the Afghans. I'm particularly proud of Rumi because, like him, I was born in the Balkh province, so I feel a particular affinity with him. Like him, I had to become an immigrant. I'm not claiming to be as good or as important as he was because of the struggles, the suffering, the invasion of Afghanistan. He ran away from the barbarians, the Mongols. I ran away from the barbarians, the Soviets, and then followed, of course, by the most recent barbarians, the Taliban and their sponsors. But that struggle goes on. The Afghans, whether they're literate or not, as Ambassador Mohib said, they recite poetry. They're proud of the historic heritage that they have of literature, of contribution to civilization, of being once the center of civilization. If you read Fred Starr, one of the fellow board members of ARCH, the cities of Central Asia, Balkh, other cities of Afghanistan, Balkh was called the mother of cities, was the center of poetry, literature, science, innovation, export of knowledge, students coming in from other places to study. Not only you have poets from Mazar or from Balkh, but you have them from Nimroz. Not many people know the reign of King Yaqub. Many people know about Sultan Mahmud Ghazni's period, where his court was full of literary figures, poets. But even in modern day Afghanistan, in the circumstances that Afghans are in now, that all of us have been affected by, there are Afghan contemporary poets as well. And I was very proud to be in Afghanistan in the post 9/11 period and see the revival, the strength, the resolve of the Afghans to hold on to that history, to that culture, to that tradition, to that potential. I want to particularly say a word or two to the young Afghans. I see some of them standing here before I stop. That sometimes, I'm sure things look very hard and difficult, understandably so. But remember that you are the inheritors of a great civilization. You have enormous potential to achieve great things, but believe in yourself. Don't let go of that proud heritage. Be proud. I have every confidence. I have every confidence that this huge struggle that Afghanistan is facing between darkness, extremism, and terror, and civilization, culture, progress that is inherent in Afghan traditions, regardless of your ethnicity, that ultimately Afghanistan will succeed and prevail. And those of us from here doing little things like with ARCH are proud of doing what we can to be helpful, to be supportive. And I count on all of you to support organizations such as ARCH and to be involved with it, to be involved in it, to strengthen it, because success ultimately will come not only in succeeding in the battlefield by defeating these evil designs, but also in building a society worthy of the background of history, of culture and civilization that Afghanistan has had, but relevant to the current era. So I thank you again, Ambassador Muhib, for your hospitality. Mrs. Muhib, I thank all of you, and it's great to be with you. Thank you very much.